Hey everybody, it's Justin from Built. The holiday season is coming up and I'm always trying to find new tools throughout the year, both big and small. And so I compiled 18 of the, really cool pickups that I found this year. All of them are tools that I have been using. There are 18 and 14 of them I purchased with my own money. So there's no sponsors in this video or anything. 4 of them were given to me. I'll let you know which ones those are just to be transparent with you, but they're not affiliated with this video. I just thought they were really cool, good tools I wanted to recommend to you. So hopefully I go through here and you find a stocking stuffer that you're interested in for yourself. Today on Built. Fast Cap Zero Clearance Tape, 2 by 16 inches. $8.99 for a 5-pack. I've spent a lot of money buying high-end Delrin zero clearance plates for my saws, but over time when you do like bevel cuts on there, you're cutting a lot of it away, and so unless you're going to swap it out every time you use it, you're going to be spending a lot of money on those things. So a different solution is these Fast Cap Zero Clearance tape inserts for your miter saw. And basically it's just a piece of PVC. It's flexible yet pretty stiff and rigid. And it has a strong adhesive on the back. So you just stick this onto your miter saw, you place a piece of wood over it and then do a plunge cut. And now you have a nice zero clearance insert. This is meant to be replaced at $8.99 for a 5-pack. They are very affordable. And so as you do ruin it with bevel cuts and whatnot going in here, widening that gap, it's really easy to replace. By having a zero clearance, you're adding more support under the wood when the blade cuts through. And so you're helping to prevent tear out under there, giving you a much cleaner cut. So for this price, it's definitely something that you might want to pick up. Edoblue 12-pack Rock Art Drying Racks, $16.89. Something simple can be the best thing, and this is technically sold as a rock art drying rack for schools, but this is definitely useful here in the shop. It's sold in a 12-pack for 16 bucks, and basically what we have here is an individual grid that we can place really weird shaped objects on here, and it's going to stay like this fake diamond that's right here, or if we need to take a cylinder and place it on, I can place it in any orientation and it is going to stay. If we had to use painter's cones for things like this, it wouldn't happen. If we had to use bench cookies, we would be having to use the flat side and apply a lot of surface contact onto what we're doing, and we don't want that when we're painting or staining things. We can also take advantage of the fact that these are a little bit flexible. So let's say I have a really weird shaped object right here and I don't want to lay this handle down. I want to keep it up. I can actually just kind of press down and it's going to hold it in place. So now I can spray paint this if I need it up in this position and get it from all different directions. So I find it $16 for this. This is a very, very, different system than our typical cones that we use when we have to stain stuff. Very versatile. You can nest them like you kind of see right here. They're still a little bit big when you nest them. And they do have these little itty bitty tab systems where you can actually connect them together. I think it's a waste of time. They're pretty flimsy and I've broken a couple already, but just being able to throw down like 4 of them when you're doing a project, you're still gonna have a whole bunch of extra ones. You don't have to use all of these all at once, though I guess you can if you're doing a really large project of some sort. But for $16, I think this is a great buy. Wolfbox Compressed Air Duster, $39.99. So I bought this mini blower on a whim a few weeks ago, and I really, really like having it. I usually have an air compressor here in the shop, but I've moved it to my new shop that I'm building out. And so I found myself, I didn't have anything to clean myself off all the sawdust at the end of the day when I'm out here. I don't want to trample that into the house. So I picked this up to clean myself off and blow off sawdust on other things. And it's actually worked pretty well. I would rate it versus my air hose on my compressor about 75% of the airflow that I would typically get out of that. So still very, very good in a very small compact package here. It's got a lithium ion battery in here, so it has 2.5 hours on the low setting. I have not had to charge it yet, even though I only ever run it at high. because really, how long am I blowing myself off or something? It's only a couple of seconds. So the battery in here will actually last quite a long time for me without having to recharge it. And it just has a USB in the back to charge it back up again. It has 4 detachable nozzles. You just twist them on and off. So they have different airflow patterns on here. So you can do a larger airflow or maybe more of a wide sweeping airflow on here. I typically like the longer, more pointed one, so I'm getting maximum airflow off of here. It has 3 settings, so we'll start off at the lowest. This is slow. So you can see these leaves are kind of moving. I would point it at my hair and have it blow in the wind if I still had any. If I turn it on to medium, we're definitely getting some good blow action off of that. Medium and low can stay on without me holding the trigger, but high only activates if I'm holding and pressing down the trigger at all times. So you get a really, here we'll blow those off too. You get a pretty good airflow off of here. This really does a good job at cleaning me off. So it's not cheap, but not too expensive either. I know it's selling for $39 right now. I picked it up for $31 when it was on sale, so it kind of goes on sale every once in a while. I'm sure there's going to be some good Black Friday deals on all these types of things, so maybe this is something that you want to think about.
Kobalt 3-piece silicone magnetic storage trays, $11.99.
This is a interesting little stocking stuffer. So it's $11.99 for a 3-pack over at Lowe's, and what these are is a silicone magnetic cup or tray, however you want to use these. And so we're always needing the ability to throw things in something here in the shop or in working on your car or whatever. And so these are interesting. I like that they collapse so they take up less space. They don't nest in the collapsed position, only when they are in the raised position like this. When they are flattened, they're just sitting on top of each other. They're not really nesting or anything. They do have anti-slip capability because of the silicone on here. The silicone makes them easy to wash. And if I scuff this up on the bottom, you'll see that there's 5 magnets on the bottom here. So if I throw metal things in here, move them around, they will stick to those 5 magnets. I'd give it like a B. They're not going to stay if, well, 2 of them stayed if I slam it upside down. It's more just to keep things in there in case things get bumped that they don't fly out. They're not meant to be rare earth magnets really holding everything super tight. You can use it in the cup orientation or you can use it in the tray orientation, so you don't have to do it that way. You can kind of use it there. So, you know, they're cheap, they're useful, they're small when you have them collapse, so I thought they were a neat little thing to share out. Good little stocking stuffer.
Vivid flexible 2-foot magnetic pickup claw grabber tool with LED light, $11.99.
So I know this is not a hardcore tool and you can find these at the dollar store, but this is the best one. So I wanted to show it to you, and $11, it's not that expensive. So this is the best grabber tool in my opinion ever. So obviously it is flexible, which makes it for a fun shop fidget toy. I'm constantly swinging this thing around in here. But on its usefulness. First off, it has a flashlight built into it. So when you are actually going to grab something, you can see what it is down in that tight little corner next to your washing machine or something when you're using to grab it. It has a rare earth neodymium magnet on the end, so something that's pretty beefy, it will be able to pick that item up out of that tough spot to get to. So very powerful magnet. And then if it is not magnetic, if it is something like this, which is not light at all, it has 4 prongs that come out of it that you can then grab it and pick it up and then release it when you pinch the top. So very handy when you need, this is one of those things like when you need it and you have it, it's awesome. It's fun to play with. And so I thought, all right, show this one too. This grabber's only $11, so really cool stocking stuffer item.
AKM 11-piece T-handle Allen key set, metric, $56.99.
Okay, so this one was a splurge one. These are not cheap. I bought these with my own money this year. I got tired of buying these Harbor Freight kits. You know, Allen key kits are cheap everywhere. They come with every sort of piece of furniture ever. I like T-handle style, but these Charber ones from Harbor Freight, I snap them all the time. And so I'm tired of replacing them, so these are going in the junk drawer as spares. And I bought spinners. So these style have a collar right here so you can spin it when you're doing things. So it just makes it a little bit faster when you're unscrewing things. These have adjustable detent controlled top handles. So you can turn it into more of a ergonomic L shape when you're doing something. You can put it back into your T shape, all depending on what you're doing. And there's very long shafts on these so that you can get into tighter spaces. Now, I bought 2 kits. I'm only actually recommending to you this one, and I'll tell you the difference. So this AKM, which is a no-name brand, this one has color coding system with it. It was around $56 when I purchased it. It's 10 pieces. This is the metric set. It also comes with a magnet that slips on from the 5 and below onto the shaft, and it has magnets inside of it to hold it in place, even when it's this thick shaft versus this little itty bitty shaft, it stays on fine. And that's just to hold a screw at the end while you're screwing it in. So this is a nice little accessory that it comes with. Also, the detents on the handle are very nice on this. It is like a sloped detent. And so you'll notice that there isn't anything on this bar at all. So when I push it, it stops right here. It's not coming off in either direction. So that detent that's under there, the design of that keeps the bar on the main part. I then purchased the Aries system, and this one is a little bit more well-known of a brand compared to this. And these are much more expensive for only 8 of them. This is the SAE though, and so there's fewer SAE choices. I think that's why the price is higher, honestly, just because they can. It still has a nice spinner on it, but the spinner and the top bar have these snap rings to keep everything together. And if the snap ring goes, I can pull this apart. It's not as big of a deal on this larger one, but many times now these snap rings have been coming off of these smaller ones because they are really thin little wires on here. And I spent in the 80s on this kit. I don't want them falling apart while I'm using them, because I was using them and boom, all of a sudden it's in 2 pieces and it's like, what happened? And then I have to find the little snap ring that shot off somewhere and put it back on again and stuff. So this one actually, for the price, kind of annoys me. They don't make an SAE version of this one, and so I'm kind of stuck with this one. And I kind of resent it a little bit, to be honest. So I'm just letting you know that one. I really do like this one. I really do recommend this one. I can't say that I recommend this one at all.
Milwaukee Air Tip Vacuum Attachment System, $29.99.
All right, so this Milwaukee Air Tip, I think 90% of the money went into this really nice pouch that it comes in. It's nicer than a lot of the power tool pouches that I get from Milwaukee. So cool that you get a cool pouch there. Basically, this is a hose system, a flexible hose system for your shop vac, for your wet dry vac type of situation. So you have your typical hose hookup right here, and then you can pick any one of these diameter flexible hoses that then click on into place on the adapter here. And that gives you a much longer, small, flexible way to be able to vacuum up things. So here in the shop, I have a really small area underneath my miter saw that I always need to get to. It's very hard for me to get with my big dust collection system. So I just slap this on there and I'm able to get everything that I need to. This is designed for an HVAC tech. This makes it easy for them to open up the side panel on like an air conditioner compressor, get in there and vacuum everything out. This is good for your lint trap and your dryer to be able to get all of the lint out of there. It's good for car detailing to get into all of those little nooks and crannies that you could never get one of the hard little small crevice tools into. So there's a lot of different uses for this. I picked this up when this was first introduced earlier in the year and it was on sale. So I got it for $19.99. I felt that that was a good price. I immediately just bought it on site when I saw it. Right now it's $29.99. So, you know, maybe there'll be some sort of sale with this on Black Friday, but I do find it to be a useful tool. Again, a lot of this stuff that I'm showing you is very right tool for the job type of stuff. So maybe it's things you haven't seen before. Maybe this totally isn't for you, and maybe you're like, oh yes, this is totally for me.
Hercules 20-volt brushless cordless 16 gauge nibbler. $119 tool only.
This is a nibbler, and a nibbler is a great tool for metal. So thin metal products, sheet metal, corrugated metal, tubes, so like my dust collection system that I have here. This will take little nibbles out of it, and you have a lot of accuracy and control to be able to make shapes and turns and corners. Basically what it does is it has a piston right here that goes up and down, and every time it goes down, it pinches the metal on this cone shape and basically cuts out a crescent. So you'll see a million little crescents on the floor as you cut through metal, but it will cut through that like butter. Now, this is the Harbor Freight Hercules model. I started off building my big 25 by 25 steel shed with a $300 Milwaukee one, and it didn't work good at all. And especially for the price, I was very angry. The metal that I have on my shed has all of these peaks and valleys, and I would go into the valley, and when I would try to come out again, that one, no matter how I tried, I could not get it to pop out easily, and so it was marring my metal, bending it and stuff. It just wasn't working right. So I went over to Harbor Freight and I bought this one for $119, so a third of the price. Champ. It got through the entire job with no problems whatsoever. It was like cutting butter with this tool, and so I had to make sure that I included this in here. So if you have any metal cutting needs, a nibbler from Harbor Freight is definitely a good purchase. Harbor Freight isn't always something that I recommend, but they have gems in there. They have some tools that are real winners at an affordable cost, and this is definitely one of those.
The Tool Swing all steel design. $260.
So full disclosure, this is something that was sent to me. My friend Richard, who is the inventor of the tool swing, I met him 2 years ago at the National Hardware Show where I interviewed him. I thought this was a really cool invention then, but he didn't have it actually for sale. He was there trying to find maybe a company that he could work with to get this out to market. Well, Richard called me, I helped him a little bit, gave him some guidance. He then took it all away. He found a manufacturer. This is being made here in the United States. Basically what this is it is a mounted swing that goes underneath your cabinet, and then you can have a heavy object like a grinder mounted to it that swings up when you need it and swings away when you don't. And those are big tools that you might have out taking up valuable real estate inside your shop that now can be really safely packed away without breaking your back every time you need to pick that really heavy tool up. So this is, like I said, made in the USA. It is solid steel construction. I'm going to be installing it really soon in my new shop, so you'll see this in a video coming up, but I wanted to show it now for Christmas because these are just so cool, and I'm really proud of him that he got this to market. It's really hard, way harder than you think, to invent something and actually get it to the point where people can buy it. So I always want to make sure that I'm supporting, local small business like that. So make sure you check out the tool swing. It might not be the cheapest item on this list, but it definitely is one of the coolest ones.
Wuben G5 rechargeable flashlight, RGB at 400 lumens. $26.65.
I'm one of those guys that's always looking for a good multi-tool knife, flashlight, and so this is the Wuben G5. This is an all-metal construction, so very rugged. It's incredibly small. It's very thin. And what I like about this one is, A, the build quality on it's very nice, but it's different than a lot of other flashlights that I've had, and so it's mainly based on the design. It has a rocker switch that allows you to turn it on, and it starts off with white, and we have a little slider wheel here that will increase or decrease the brightness, and you can see it's pretty bright here. The actual light can pivot, so I can move it and click it into place, and this is good when I use the belt clip. So the belt clip can be on the side or it can rotate over to the front, and then I can actually clip it directly onto my shirt or other things. And so now I have like a work light that's right in front of my shirt, or I can point it up, point it into me, give a good ghost story there. Um, it has a magnetic bottom on here, so I can actually just place this on anything metal, which is cool. So it has a lot of functionality for such a small little package here, and it is, again, pretty bright. Now, it also has RGBs on here. So now that I'm in the color mode, I can actually use the scroll wheel to go between all these different colors available in here. So very interesting little guy. Comes with a lanyard if you want to use it. I typically am keeping this in my car all the time because it's just so small. It's USB-C rechargeable, so it's easy to make sure that you're always charged with this. And as soon as you cover over that USB-C, it actually turns everything off so that it won't accidentally turn on.
Tiger's Teeth Freedom Pro Saw Multi-Blade Sharpening System, $225.
If you watched my National Hardware Show video this year, you would have seen the Tiger's Teeth blade sharpening system. This was probably my favorite thing from the hardware show this year. It is something that solves a problem for me that I really hate, which is my oscillating multi-tool blades. You cut one bolt with these and it's completely eaten all of the teeth off of the middle. And these are so expensive. You're upwards of paying around $10 a blade for these. And so if it's a one use and throwaway thing, that's a lot of money. And more than any other thing that I'm going to show you here, this is actually something that will pay for itself over time. So this system right here typically comes with the single blade and then the barrel blade sharpener on here. And you have different replacement ones to do different, contours with the single. And then you also have a secondary barrel, which the tighter grooves right here is for metalwork, and the larger grooves is for woodworking. On these, I can sharpen a circular saw, I can sharpen a hole saw, I can sharpen demo, I can sharpen jigsaws, my oscillating multi-tool, and basically, depending on which type of blade I have here, I would just place it down and sharpen it one by one individually, or I would place my oscillator here on the barrel and I would sharpen it once and then sharpen it twice. I'm actually going to make a whole station for this here in the shop because this is not something I want to put away in a drawer. This is something that I want to have out so I can just walk over real quick and be like 1, 2, 1, 2, and now I have my blade sharp again and I can get back to work. So for me, even though this does run a little above $200 for this tool, if I'm able to sharpen a blade 5 times, where before I would have thrown it away after one, I'm probably saving about $40, $50 in blades. So this will, over time, pay for itself. So I really, really like this system here. I feel like these blades are a little overpriced. So being able to get a lot more life out of them is something pretty cool.
Klein Tools Impact Flip Socket Set Metric and Imperial, $20.98.
I'm always looking for very compact ways to be able to take as many tools as I can, both with the tools that I keep in my car all the time and also in my tool boxes that I'm going to take out on a job site. It's really difficult for me to take like an entire socket set with me unless I really know that I have to have all of that functionality. So here we have Klein's solution to that, and this is their flip socket sets. They're impact rated, both SAE and Imperial. I have sets of 6 here, though the SAE is listed as 7, and I'll tell you why. So basically what this does is it gives you double-sided sockets so that you can get 2 sockets out of 1 to be able to use it. What it has up on top here is this very interesting star shape. And so when we insert one of these, it stops at the star shape. You can have it go low, or you can even pull it out just a little bit and it will have more of a recess inside here. At the top of the shaft, we have a rare earth magnet. And so when we place on one of our sockets, it will do a great job in holding our material piece there as we go to drive it in. Now, what's really nice about the fact that this is a removable shaft is if you look at a typical impact socket here that has a magnet on the inside. They're very handy, but if you get metal shavings inside here, it is a nightmare to clean them out to be able to use them. On this one, because I'm able to remove the socket all the way, I'm able to clean off this magnet every time, which is really, really nice. It's cool that they all nest on here, even though these are much, much larger sockets. And being that they're impact rated is pretty nice. So you can pick these up in many different sizes and orientations. I chose to, get a 6 unit on both of these, but they make 8 units and even larger with all sorts of different options with these. So, you can kind of make and choose what you want in your set. I like having a little bit of both on here. One other neat thing is the 1/4 inch on the SAE. We're able to use that as a bit holder. So this, again, when you're limited in what you have in your toolbox when you're out on site, maybe a week ago, I was doing an install where we needed to screw things right under a gutter, and my impact was actually getting way too close, hitting the gutter and not allowing me to screw all the way in, and I needed an extender. So this would actually work in this scenario because this is an extended shaft right here. I could place my bit on here, put it in, and now I have a much longer extended reach with my tool. So a nice little added bonus extra feature that it offers.
The Grit Grip Dual-Sided Sanding Pads Multi-Pack, $14.95.
So this is the Grit Grip Sanding Multi-Pack. It has a whole bunch of different grits on here. And what's interesting about this sandpaper is it's a double-sided, stiff yet flexible piece of sandpaper that has a lattice work on the inside, almost like what you see with like corrugated cardboard, for example. And so what this does is it gives you a much stiffer implement than a foam sanding block. A foam sanding block is going to completely contour when you press into something, but it can also kind of bend in unintended consequences. This is almost like you put a plastic sheet to it behind your sandpaper. So it stays rigid. You can get in on a very flat or even curved surface on here, do a lot of good fine detail sanding, and again, it stays very stiff. This won't be the solution for every sanding need. I like having a lot of different implements. I've shown on this style of video, I've shown you a whole bunch of different sanding things that you can use. I definitely think this is one that you want to add to your arsenal at like $1 a piece. They're really not expensive, so you will have that time where you need the right tool for the job, and I'm definitely sure that this type of sanding paper will come in handy in one of those times of need.
5-piece Nail Setter Dual Head Nail Set, $22.99.
So one of my #1 used tools and is always in my apron is a spring form punch. I've showed this on these videos before. Typically I buy just this typical spring form punch that has a pointed end and an end that has a little bit more of a indented tip. And usually they're like $7, $8, $9 for these, and of course they're a fun fidget toy for us in the shop. But the last time I had one of these break, I decided, you know what? I saw a 5-pack, and so I said, let's check this one out. So at under $5 a piece, so a larger savings, I have a whole array of these now. So this particular set comes with your standard springform punch that has a small point and a small indent. Then you go to a larger indent on both sides on this one. You have one with larger points here, so these are great if you need to make a good indentation before using a screw or a drill bit on metal and other implements that it might want to wander on. This one has a chisel too, so it's a spring-form chisel on here. This one here is definitely for removing a hinge pin on a door jamb. And so this makes it really easy to get those pins out. I like that it has this added height on here and it's not going to damage my spring form that usually I'm using when I'm trying to get a door jamb out. So 5 of these. Now I have a lot more array of capability with these on here. Of course, this one will still always be in my apron because I use it all the time, but it's nice to have a lot of these other styles as well.
Vampire Tools Vampliers Python 10-inch Plumber's Slip Joint Pliers, $35.18.
So this is the Vampliers, the Python 10-inch by Vampire Tools. Now, Vampire Tools sent me this maybe 6 months ago or more. And when I first opened the box, basically, this seems like a very generic wrench. There's nothing crazy over molded or anything. They are comfortable in my hands, but you know, a typical wrench. The special thing about this is inside the jaws. And so why I decided to show you this was, in addition to grabbing pipe and round objects or nuts, the usual thing that a plumber is going to use this for, this has a groove in the front with vertical serrations, not horizontal like you typically have there. And the reason for that is this is used to remove stripped screws. And so it can grab onto the head really easily using that groove in there, or it's also meant to be able to grab onto the shaft with a lot of clamping force on there to be able to remove this. And so this is really important for plumbers, but it's also important for woodworkers and everybody else who uses these types of wrenches. There are those times where our screws are completely rusted, stripped. Maybe it's just a shaft that is left over, and so we need to use pliers in order to get those out, and this has a special feature in the front. It's in line with other pricing for other pliers. Its slip is only button activated on the way down, so you can just close it with force going in the other direction. So they are, you know, respectable pliers with a really, really, really cool feature in the front of the jaw.
Tite-Reach extension clamp, $24.95.
This is the Tite-Reach extension clamp, and I have needed this so many times in my life before I bought this, so I'm very happy that I have it. Basically, you take a nut and place it at the end, and then you just tighten it down. And so now you have this incredibly skinny item that is holding your nut in place. It is preventing that nut from spinning as you go to tighten it down, and it really elongates your reach. So I have done so many things. I was working on a washing machine one time, and I could not get my arms around everything by myself to hold the nut on the inside and then tighten the bolt on the outside. And so this gives me extra reach, or it just gives me the availability to wedge this into place and then go to the outside and take care of it. So it's very simple. It is a really simple machine, and a lot of times the simplest design wins. And so this is very, very handy. It's not that expensive. They're cheaper when you buy them in a 3-pack, so you get varying different sizes and lengths.
Milwaukee Hammer Vac Universal Dust Extractor M12, $66.99.
This was an impulse buy for me this year because I was looking on Amazon and I saw this, and it was $65 at the time when I purchased it. And when you buy Milwaukee tools, you're not spending anything less than like $150 for the little stuff, and you're spending $200, $300, $400, $500 for other tools. So to pick up something that's fairly cheap in Milwaukee world, I jumped right on it right away. And so what this is it is a dust extractor that mounts directly to your drills. And so this is a universal one. You don't have to have Milwaukee, but it does run off of an M12 Milwaukee battery. So you would actually have to have that inside your, at least one battery inside your platform. The way this works is it is a vacuum, so I'll kick it on. It's not super loud. You can still hear me here. It's not as loud as a shop vac, but it is a vacuum. And what it does is it's vacuuming directly at this bristle brush head right at the front. What we'll do is we grab one of the 3 included tightening mounting handles, and so you slide this over your drill and tighten it down. And so now you're adding extra leverage on here. You clamp it to the side of your tool. So this can move so that you can center it directly on the drill. And all of the suction is happening right around the front by the bristles. So this is great for if you're going to be drilling tile, masonry, any sort of drywall, any sort of thing that's going to create a lot of dust in a space. A, you don't want to breathe that in, and B, you don't want to make a mess. So I was drilling a hole for my Kung Fu school that my kids go to. They pulled something off of the wall, and so I had to drill into the cinder block for them to remount it. And I didn't want to get dust all over their carpet everywhere. So I brought the vacuum. As I'm drilling, it's sucking up everything. The vacuum has a retraction so that it allows you, as the drill bit goes into the wall, it follows that so that suction is always at the front of the drill bit where it is impacting with the workpiece. You have adjustable stops on here so that you can actually use this as a guide as well if you'd like. And the fact that it's universal so that I could use this with any other tool that this collar will fit around, which it does. My smaller rotary hammer, it works with as well. It was a good pickup for me. I like it quite a bit, and so that's why I'm recommending it.
Spyder Carbide-Tipped Arbored Adjustable Hole Saw Kit, 14-piece with case, $112.
So I purchased this large kit this year. They also make a smaller kit, and you can just buy the Arbor on its own. I will link all of those down below because the really special thing about this kit is the Arbor. It's really what I want to focus on. If we step back in time, old arbors were just friction fit. They would get stuck and the wood gets stuck on everything. Last year, I recommended this Milwaukee arbor, which has a retraction mechanism and it locks in your hole saw with 2 pegs. And so it was easy for me to just retract it and then you could easily unscrew your hole saw afterwards, but you still had to poke at the wood to get it out of that hole saw itself. Enter this Spyder mechanism here. So this is a universal one. So if you already own a whole bunch of Milwaukee or some other company's hole saws, you can utilize it with this arbor. It is a pin system. So this retractable thing right here just holds it in place with 2 pins, just like that older Milwaukee one does. But as we drill our hole afterwards, I then push this Spyder button and I can then pull back my hole saw, ejecting the wood forward. So now I have an arbor that allows me to easily take the wood out, to easily remove my hole saw after it's done. That is a huge time saver, and that's why this arbor is really cool. Now, this arbor utilizes Spyder's drill bits. So you do have to have their drill bits with it. I have a masonry bit and I have a wood bit here. So you might need to buy several of the bits to go along with the arbor. But I really like this arbor. It's now my new favorite one. And so regardless of whatever hole saws I'm using along with it, this is the arbor that's for me. All right, well, that was my new cool tools for this year that I purchased. I know some of these aren't like your crazy big, super expensive things. I wanted to show a lot of more affordable items on here. There's lots of really cool things that you don't have to break the bank with to pick up that can bring a lot of value to your workspace. Like I said in the beginning of the video, the only things that were provided to me were the tiger's teeth, the grit grips, and the Vampire Tools pliers. Those things were sent to me, but they weren't sent to me for this video. They, people send me stuff all year long in hopes that I'll put them in a video. And I like those enough that I wanted to recommend them. So take those recommendations for what they will. I purchased everything else with my own money. Otherwise, I hope that you got a lot of good content out of this. If you did, I hope you'll hit like and subscribe. You'll see when my next video comes out. As always, stay safe in the shop, and I'll see you in the next one.